The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 700 experience points. Elian gets Blood Vial. Double tap to continue. The skeleton collapses and falls into pieces. Was he protecting the logbook?
Control center. Airplane mode. Sound mode. Calculate. Select screen. Log rotation. Text size. Brush selected. Screen recording. Hellhunter. Enter in. Direct touch area.
To below. Old map. Logbook. Elian starts to browse the logbook. Maybe he can find a clue to what's happening. His attention is caught starting from the part in which the crew finds an incredible treasure. A huge stock of chests. In particular, one which is very large. They placed everything inside the treasure room and partied until dawn. The day after, they decided to take a look at the treasure and divide it among them. Suddenly, many screams alerted the captain, who rushed to check the situation, and what he saw was terrifying. It took a lot of effort and deaths to stop that damned demon. The balance of dead was tremendous. The crew had been halved that day. Among repairs, corpses, and treating the wounded, the mood was gloomy. No one said a word. The captain felt like something bad might happen. So among the repairs, he asked a carpenter to place a wood barrier inside the ship. Also, he told his woman in private that she would have to leave on a lifeboat in the middle of the night. That fateful night finally arrived, the one in which he planned the escape of the woman. No one was looking, and he was shut in his room while her lover departed. The room was inaccessible from the outside, since he knew that it would happen. What he didn't know was they would decide to act this night. Many voices barked his name out loud, then another voice joined in. It started to scream. Scream and scream and scream and scream. He was powerless and trapped inside the cage he created for himself, so useless and desperate, on the verge of losing his mind, among tears and blood. From the outside, the barks continued, many blows to the barricades, unceasingly. After many hours, he heard a loud noise from the outside, and the waves started to churn as if a tidal wave was happening. The barks turned into yelps, and many steps in all directions followed. Elian arrives at the last page of the logbook. The calligraphy worsens a lot in the last pages. He starts reading again. Just after a lot of explosions, impacts and screams followed. He made an opening in the wall and witnessed what he described as a marvelous show. In one last note he wrote, "Oh my lord, I beg you, exterminate those traitors, those filthy dogs. Please avenge us, Kraken, and my soul will be yours forever." The logbook ends here. A few seconds later, the sea is upset, the ship sways. Elian must check outside. Bookshelf, logbook, old map, to below deck, to the stern. Elian unlocked the door. Elian quickly gets out of the room, which leads to the stern. His worst fear materializes. A huge kraken is emerging from the sea. The vehicles must be stuck on his tentacles. Elian is a vampire hunter. A kraken simply is not his cup of tea. He's not specialized to fight against a monster like that. Yet the cannons on the main deck might be what he needs. You have reached Ghost Ship, stern, quarter deck. To the captain, to the main deck. You have reached to below deck, to the stern, to the speedboat, cannonballs. There are many cannonballs scattered near the cannons. Elian quickly counts the cannons. 12 in total nearby, 6 for each side. And since the Kraken is aligned with one of the sides, there are enough cannons for Elian and the crew. He's going to talk to the crew to convince them to help him with the cannons. Cannonballs, to the speedboat. Elian quickly returns to the speedboat. The crew is all outside the cabin. They are scared to death. Convincing them to help him with cannons might prove even harder than escaping from the Kraken. You have reached speedboat and lifeboat. To the two inside. You have reached saving point. You saved the game. Tools, medical kit. The rest is bed. Weapon to the outside. You have reached speedboat outside. To the ghost ship. To inside. Crew member 5. Even his resolve is wavering before the Kraken. Crew member, he's very agitated. The gun in his hand is shaking. Amelia. Amelia is shaking, but she's the leader. If Elian wants their cooperation, then he must convince her first of all. They don't know what to do. Elian explains the situation. They are too scared to help him. Meanwhile, the Kraken keeps on with its rampage. At a certain point, while Elian is trying to find the right words to make them react, a tentacle of the Kraken suddenly moves toward the speedboat. Elian doesn't make it in time to warn the crew, and so it hits the second member of the crew full in the head. There's nothing to do. It tears his head off, and the body falls. The crew starts to scream and freak out as they see his neck still spilling blood. Elian immediately shouts at them with all his voice to calm down. It seems to have some effect. With a harsh and unshakable voice, he tells the crew, especially Amelia, to stand up and help him with the cannons, or it will be the end for everyone. Amelia is with Elian, and in a few seconds the crew is ready to go. Crew member 3. Now he is saying something to the crew to boost their morale. Crew member 2. This is a terrible situation, and Elian has very few blood vials left. He starts wondering if they will be enough against the Kraken. Then he glances for a second towards the pool of blood below the dead crew member. The blood is still fresh. It's quite inappropriate, but actually he's an unexpected source of blood, which might be used to help Elian and the other crew members to survive this place. Will Elian draw some blood from the corpse? Swipe, this is not the moment to hesitate. Elian stops thinking, and while the other crew members are looking towards the ghost ship, he swiftly kneels down and uses his powers to manipulate the blood of their mate. Elian makes sure to not get too much of it, so the corpse won't look dried, so he obtains 2 blood vials. Now he must use them wisely for the Kraken. This is the last blood he can count on. Lifeboat. There's a lifeboat. To the ghost ship, to insert crew member 5. He's returned to normal and will offer some. To inside. You have reached to the outside. You have reached speedboat. Elian returns to the ghost ship. The crew quickly move towards the cannons that point towards the Kraken and start to fire. The Kraken is huge, but the explosions have some effect on him after all. Now it's Elian's turn. You have reached main ghost ship. To below deck main mast skeleton cannons. Cannon to the speedboat to the stern. To the bow. To below deck main mast. To below to the bow to the stern. To the speedboat. To the stern. To the bow. To below deck. Main cannons. Elian positions himself next to one of the last 2 free cannons and starts to fire. The Kraken becomes agitated and swings a tentacle towards Elian. He dodges it with perfect timing, but hits the ship instead, making it shake. Elian must take into account that even if he manages to keep dodging it, the ship could be destroyed before they have the chance to escape. He must consider the eventuality of being hit on purpose to protect the ship during the battle. In any case, it will be a fight against time, so he doesn't waste a second. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian makes a perfect dodge. The tentacle lands on the main deck, but that blow causes a terrible noise. Elian grows pale. That was the keel, and it's been crushed. A few seconds later, the main deck, actually the whole ship, splits in half. Both the parts incline, while the stern and the bow are pointing toward the sky. The crew and Elian fall helplessly into the sea. They desperately try to reach the speedboat, but this time the Kraken grabs it with a tentacle and smashes it, then tosses the remains towards them. The most lucky ones die with the blow. Then the Kraken aims at them, and someone gets hit by a tentacle. Someone else is grabbed and squeezed to death. It is a massacre. Elian swims in the opposite direction with all his strength, but there's no match in the sea. He just delays his death, which inevitably comes a few moments later, as for all living things. Swipe left to load the last saved game. You have reached speed. You saved the game. Tools, medical kit, bed, weapons,